Hello, folks, and welcome back. We are back with just enough time for us to get a quick swap of cast in. Sir Waltham and Ocean now going to be sitting here at the table. Ocean, thank you for keeping the cast on lock as well as the prior caster before me. Villanova versus St. John's. How are we feeling about it?
I'm feeling things. It's hard to be optimistic about this one. Villanova 0-10 so far this season. St. John's 8-2, one of our better teams. So in fairness, a little bit of hope for Villanova. St. John's lost last week in a thrilling series against William Mary. One of the better series we've had so far in EGF Overwatch. St. John's will be looking to bounce back, and they'll be expecting to be bouncing back here today.
Yeah, if you're St. John's, this is definitely one of those situations where you want to get your mental straight. You want to use it as kind of a reset point, allowing yourself to move on to those perhaps more intimidating teams, if I'm being a little generous here, Ocean, as compared to their opponents today in Villanova. As we do take a quick look at what our maps have been, will be, and are, we know that we are going to be starting off on Busan as our control map. We're going to be seeing that lovely map screen here in just a second. There it goes, Busan. Then moving on to Numbani, Hanamura, and we don't anticipate a fourth or fifth map here, Ocean, but if so, it's going to be Rialto, then Nepal.
This is a nice map picks.
Yeah.
Usually when we're casting, sometimes we get just a point, like a bit of the objectives. Those are some nice picks. Just noticing, that going into the game. This series, I'd imagine St. John's are going to be pretty dominant, but what I want to see from Villanova is improvement from the start of the year. So some more compositions. What they were playing at the start of the year was just a couple of different heroes that maybe don't even synergize, and some setups or something, just something that shows they've developed over the course of the season.
I think that that's certainly the route you have to kind of hope for if you're Villanova. Hoping for, a match win or a map win might still be pretty lofty. I would say certainly not outside of the realm, but again, pretty lofty. I think one of those maps where we're going to be able to see the improvement the most is going to be that Numbani, because that is a map that certainly on that first point while you're attacking can require a ton of coordination and organization just to get cracked. If they're able to take that off St. John's, or at least have a couple good pushes looking like it, I think we're going to be seeing them in a good improvement.
Numbani's a hard map to play too. Like there's a lot of tier 2, tier 3 teams that will watch, right? And they'll be like, yo, how do we play this map again? It's a difficult map.
Yeah, absolutely tend to agree. However, before we get to Numbani, as we mentioned, it's going to be starting off on Busan. We're going to the nice mecha base, it seems, and so far not too much to be selected for these heroes just yet. There are going to be about 30 seconds before those gates open, though, Ocean.
All right, let's have a look at these compositions. I mean, we've got for Villanova, we've got a Cassidy and a Reaper for a Brawl comp. We've got a Rest and Hog for a Poke comp. And then we got Anna and Brigitte for a dive comp. So we've got a composition in places. That's better than what we were seeing at the start of the year. So that's an improvement. Standard Brawl, really, for St. John's, except they're running Doomfist and Echo. I would imagine, okay, Doomfist and Cassidy. So just some comfort picks, I guess. Doomfist instead of a May might just be a comfort pick.
Comfort picks indeed going to be coming out. Villanova looking for perhaps some of that synergy we were talking about, that Orisa Hog coming through. A lot of initial damage can be done, especially if you're able to lock down something like that Doomfist, like that Cassidy when they try to get aggressive. Going to be looking for those opportunities. A nice shot onto the Doomfist, but the Immortality Field, a quick response from St. John's. And although Villanova starting off in a good way on this point, they're going to have to hold it until it fully unlocks, and losing Gryffindor is going to make that a lot harder. If you stay still, able to just get a lot of maneuvering around here, that Doomfist not quite being punished. We saw that Hog get the hook, but it didn't look like the follow-up was there.
Villanova, they got into a nice objective on the spot. They held some space for a good amount of time. I think it was a nice hook there as well at one point, Good developmental steps, nothing that was ever really close to getting a kill or a fight win, but good. It was good foundation to build on, as they're going to go underneath in this team fight. Going to be difficult to do that though, especially as Jolton Joe has identified that immediately.
Jolton Joe and the rest of the team from St. John's, as a matter of fact, just going to be holding this small entryway. And if you're Villanova and you're aware of that Doomfist, you have to be a little bit wary, because that pull right there can just have you get knocked into it, immediately take enough damage to get taken out of this fight in whole. And St. John's is just going to, Villanova's just going to back up, try a different route.
And I think that St. John's are ready for this, though. They've got another Shatter online and not Matrix as well. This is going to be difficult for Villanova.
Earthshatter goes out. I think Jolton Joe tweaked their angles just a little bit too much, instead breaching the entryway instead of through the doorway. right now we're seeing them still dive through regardless of whether that Shatter hits or not. And St. John's still coming up clean for it. They invest those 2 ultimates. I believe the Meteor Strike was also committed, but it's not going to be too detrimental at the moment.
Yeah, how did Jolton Joe live there? I'm not too sure. It looks like they're going to stay around here, looking pretty confident. St. John's want to take this as aggressive as possible. Pretty good idea, because it aligns, it stops Villanova, from setting up any plays with that nano boost.
We are seeing the immediate shield dance coming in from Jolton Joe. That is a sign of a Reinhardt who is confident and or off the rocker, but I think Jolton Joe is going to be leaning a little bit more towards that confident angle. And Villanova now still really struggling just to get towards point. They might be... Well, they don't even have the speed, so St. John's going to be able to outmaneuver them in most of these instances. That Lucio going underneath, getting 2 boots. You get the Reinhardt, but you lose your Ana and your Reaper. That is a little bit crucial there in Villanova. Still not quite in this fight, despite what was looking like some potential misplays. Oh, man.
Oh, dear. I mean, at least they got a kill in the last fight, Villanova. You know, St. John's are a good team, you know. Even Jolton Joe, even though Jolton Joe has been a little bit silly, playing a bit aggressive, you know, they know their limits. You know, they're a good player. They can get themselves out of those sort of situations. Getting a kill, I guess, is something that is okay to take on board in that control round of Mecha Base, considering they weren't doing that in any of the previous team fights on Mecha Base. So improvements, I guess, over the map as well, over the round of boosts on there that we just witnessed. But also, I don't think you can really afford to have 2 of your players boot before the team fight begins, and having a Doomfist get that much value when you have so much to deal with a Doomfist in your team composition.
Well, fortunately for Villanova, it doesn't seem like St. John's necessarily going to be rolling out with the Doomfist once again, but a different kind of one-shot potential coming out from St. John's, this time going to be in the form of those precision characters, that Widowmaker, that Tracer, not technically one-shot, but still does a lot of damage very rapidly if they catch somebody like the Ana, like perhaps that Cassidy without the flashbang off guard. If you stay, not quite connecting with any headshots just yet. I say that as the body shot goes in right to Gryffindor, reenacting the lore behind Overwatch there, taking down that Ana, making sure she is out of the fight. And Villanova now at a massive disadvantage. And Villanova, once again, looking to posture themselves right onto point immediately instead of focusing on winning those fights. And they don't even get the tank. It's going to be Jolton Joe who does take out that Reinhardt Myfris. Tyler now both off the field, and there's no way Villanova can hold this at that rate.
See Villanova maybe swap over to Lucio against this composition, because otherwise they're kind of playing a lot of very immobile characters that when they try to walk towards the objective, they're just going to get pile drived, and the rest of St. John's are going to walk in.
See, if you stay actually pulling forward quite a ways, and they're trying to take a couple different angles, really splitting the attention of Villanova. Not able to land too many shots, but it's still just free pressure you're able to put on your opponents, and Villanova are in the worst stages of stagger right now. They just need to regroup. That Reinhardt, the Reaper, need to either drop or get out as fast as possible. You can only do so much. Oh no, the sleep. Oh no, the hook onto the pulse mine to Reinhardt, bringing him right back into the face of Mr. Koala, man. Not going to affect St. John's ratios here. A nice headshot onto Taiga, but still, it's a little bit frustrating if you're Mr. Koala, man. And either way, St. John's still running the field here. We've only seen a couple of kills come through, and I mean, one of them was from St. John's killing their own teammate.
Jolton Joe's gone down in the spawn door. This is an opportunity for Villanova to go and win a team fight, go and prove they can at least, you know, get some kills and stand up mechanically to St. John's. But they've got to worry about this minefield. As soon as they walk towards the objective, there's going to be a pile drive on a minefielding from Lame Lizard.
That is exactly what we see. Plus the headshot onto the Cassidy. Diva going to be getting demeched as well. St. John's, without even really needing the minefield, already kind of dominating the zones that they want to play in within this matchup. It's going to be the Reinhardt and the Diva all taken out. Not much to worry about if you're on the side of St. John's. A nice bowl onto Taiga to end things.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, they didn't need the minefield, but what it did was it kind of stumbled Villanova's rotation into the team fight. Now 92%, 6% away from dominating Busan, and oh, that's a naughty kill from Jolton Joe.
Whether you're playing Overwatch or whether you're playing a tactical shooter, you always got to check those corners. Jolton Joe going to teach you the hard way. That Widowmaker going to be lining up shots down the lane while that whole hog is pushing everybody out of position. Earthshatter tries to go in, but it wasn't going to ever find too much. Overtime burning down, and St. John's taking Busan as quick as we could probably see it.
Yeah, that was rapid fire. I think there wasn't even a moment of percentage for Villanova. I think they held some space on point A for a little while with the Orisa composition, but that was really it. There were some okay moments from Villanova. I guess they got a couple good kills on the Jolt and Joe, but yeah, nothing really to write home about. I think there is an apparent class difference between these teams, maybe even a couple of classes, and St. John's should probably win this pretty comfortably for the rest of the series. I'm just interested to see how Villanova develop over the course of this series, because if you don't learn anything from this loss, what's the point in playing?
I think that's the attitude they have to have. We talked about it at the beginning, but Villanova just needs to keep eyes forward, look at where perhaps their weaknesses are showing most predominantly. I mean, you're not going to be able to address all of them within one game, but still, just curing one or two going to be miles of good here, especially against a team of the caliber of St. John's. And one thing I am curious about looking at St. John's is, we know Numbani is going to be coming up. We've seen St. John's not we did see the St. John's on the wrecking ball. I wonder, does that kind of dive mentality, or do those more mobile tanks play into Numbani? Does St. John's perhaps hold it a little bit more in their pocket? Overall, something very curious to keep eyes out for, or at least something that I am gonna be taking note of.
I'm interested to know if St. John's are going to play like what they would usually play. Like, I imagine St. John's would probably play either Wrecking Ball, Devo, or something of the sort on defense, and Bonnie on even offense as well. Or they might run Winston. I wonder if St. John's might just play something that they'll have fun with, right? Because St. John's probably got the series in the bag no matter what they play, to be honest. As long as it's not like overly silly. So they might keep some strategies in the back pocket.
I think you hit on something that you and I currently are seeing happen right now here, Ocean. You're talking about playing something that's a little bit more comfortable, perhaps a little bit more fun, enjoyable. And right now, our producer is just typing up a storm, letting us know of all the character swaps that seem to be coming through, or all the role swaps, I should say, that are going to be coming through. We have Liam off DPS, Jolt and Joe going to be going to main tank, Slurpee going to be going off tank. When you have support players going to tank players, it's telling me that perhaps you're taking this of a little bit different mindset than the most top tier competitive level.
So actually, Gryffindor was on the Villanova, so they're also making role changes, which is weird. You'd think, if you're trying to build upon something and learn some fundamental, you would keep things the same. You wouldn't really. I mean, I guess you could say you're experimenting, but I'd rather experiment with people in the exact same starting spots. I think that would be the better way to go, better way to learn and get a consistent 6 before messing things up a little bit.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. I mean, this might always just be like, a fun league type thing for Villanova, and if that's the case, then more power to them. But if score is going to be a factor, is going to be at any point a consideration within their mind, they have to kind of take into consideration, do we continue to rotate these players around, or do we specialize them a little bit? Fortunately, it's so late in the season that I think that it's not going to affect their scoreline all too much. I think that that's a mentality they more so should have developed at the front half of the season, or the first semester of the season, I should say. But now I think if they've been working on trying to figure out who goes where, they should probably have already figured that out by now.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's nothing really much Villanova could do for the rest of the season anyway. Probably after this game, they'll be 0-11. I don't really see any other teams in the league that they can maybe go and beat. Maybe Canisius. I don't know if they're even in their schedule, to be honest. They are the weakest team in the league, and they've got to develop fast, because if they want to do next season as well, they've got to be better than this, because they've been really poor all season long.
We are going to be starting off here on Numbani. It's going to be St. John's on the attack first. Villanova starting off defensive-wise, and of course, with Villanova being on the defensive side, it means we're probably not going to see the fastest round of Numbani, just because St. John's will have to push it all the way to what is most likely going to be 3. Villanova, if I'm being quite frank, your Ocean probably going to get held at first.
It's a difficult point to attack. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Villanova were held at first. I wouldn't be surprised anyways, no matter what point it was, to be honest. St. John's on their offense going for the Reinhardt. I'm not surprised about that at all. I would imagine they wouldn't have different roles for this map, and I would imagine they'd probably play Winston over Reinhardt after this map. But I also respect that they're playing a pretty poor team, so they're gonna either keep strats in the back pocket or just have some fun. Either or, doesn't really matter, as long as St. John's treat this game professionally.
You can see St. John's already kind of staggering where their players are all located. Their tanks, of course, going to be going that top left side. Their DPS supports kind of floating towards the middle, towards the upper right. That Genji, that Echo, all capable of having some pretty good mobility, and Happy Sparrow going to be taken down immediately. Villanova going to be hurting for that support difference there. Although the Mercy does get taken down for the side of St. John's, Villanova losing way more than they're getting at this rate.
Yep, fast, confident approach from St. John's. You'd have to wonder why the approach was so easy for them, right? Like, there wasn't really any pressure on them whatsoever. I guess Villanova has to learn to either spam more or make things a little bit more awkward for their opponents, but it was pretty straightforward for St. John's. Nothing really special had to be done. Just a direct approach, a direct point take.
We see the entirety of St. John's not going to be getting too aggressive here, getting a lot of that forward positioning. I would kind of expect that to be the case. I mean, I think they're going to be pretty confident moving ahead. I mean, they're obviously not that that dedicated to putting their shield forward. Jolton Joe doing a little bit of the spin style points. I got to give it to him, but either way, it's still going to be St. John's pushing ahead just a little bit. Not as aggressive as I think we could see a team like this really get if they wanted.
And take some space at least. Like, as I said, I don't mind, you know, St. John's kind of having a little bit more fun, but I would like them to still do a quicker professional job. Yep, okay, let's do some basics right. We've captured a body point edits of our main tank and a couple other players take some space. That would be probably the limit of what I want them to do. Nothing really much further than that, but would like to see that from St. John's at least.
And those are core things that you don't have to worry about necessarily exposing to your opponents for the next couple of weeks. Jolton Joe taking a lot of damage, eventually bailed out by Koala. Man, it's going to be the nano boost going in with the blade if you stay. Looking to carve up, but it's going to be the Earthshatter so far getting just as many. Although that being said, if you stay gets one with the dash. D.Va getting ejected and just trying to take herself out. Myfris eventually does go down, and the cart going to continue moving past that second.
Yeah, they have the ultimates to win this last point. St. John's not really much hope for Villanova. I mean, maybe if they get a Bob, right? You know, they can stall out some time. And never mind, Nate's gone down. I wouldn't be surprised if St. John's just captures completely off of that.
And so far, it doesn't look like Villanova able to lock anybody down from the side of St. John's. So St. John's getting a lot of free progress. We see that Torbjorn still in play, but with a hero that requires that level of setup might be a little bit more difficult. The pin does come in from Gryffindor, but it's only going to be doing so much. Doesn't even get any kills off the back end of it, despite that nano coming through. Self-destruct goes in, clears off a little bit of the point, but Villanova still only cleared off a fraction of the St. John's team. We do see Jolton Joe holding far forward in the front. I believe it's the Ana giving them a little bit of boost. We see Joey also linking up with them on that Mercy as well. And right now, Jolton Joe really just trying to focus down this D.Va, trying to clear off that main angle of point. Liam Lizard getting taken down. Villanova might actually secure their footholds into this position if they're able to maintain. That Valkyrie certainly going to help.
They pushed back for a little bit, Villanova. That was good. Good Valkyrie. Good aggression from Gryffindor and the Reinhardt. Not bad towards the end of that team fight. I mean, they didn't win it. And St. John's will just go again after a small soft reset.
And we see the Earth Shatter go out. Gryffindor, however, holding their shield firm and able to return Shatter. Jolton Joe and Slurpee both going down. Doesn't result in any net kills. In fact, cost Gryffindor and Myfris their life because the DPS weren't necessarily right in position to take advantage of it. Bob's still going to be on point, preventing those that cart progress from coming through the pin. However, going to be relocating him. Just by a bit of time. I don't think it's enough for the spawns to come back, though.
It was alright though from Villanova. You know, they had like half a team fight victory, which is honestly more than I was expecting. I was only really expecting maybe a couple of kills. Look, it's been awkward for them. They haven't been great at Villanova, but spells they've done some okay things. Nothing really to write home about. St. John's though, I mean, they were fine. I was a little bit surprised that Jolton Joe just kept swinging at that D.Va instead of, you know, doing something a little bit more impactful, getting into the backline, getting those kills. Those kills were open and ready to be claimed, and they probably could have capped maybe a minute or so faster. So interesting to see why they were just kind of tunnel visioned on that D.Va.
I tend to agree, and it's interesting, right? If my memory serves, the timeline was that, you know, Jolton Joe spends a lot of time swinging at the D.Va. The Mercy pops that Valkyrie, and that's actually where Villanova are able to push ahead a little bit. I think that if that Mercy didn't get the opportunity to get that Valkyrie, didn't have the, I guess, wasn't alive to get it off, maybe that fight goes a different way and it goes a little bit more, a little bit quicker for St. John's. Definitely some weaknesses that are getting exposed here. I don't think that's what St. John's needs to be putting out there, especially, you know, on these broadcasts where they can get researched by other teams.
Yeah, to be fair though, research-wise, if that is a trend, people will notice it and not really notice it in a Villanova game. You know what I mean? Like I don't think if you're scouting St. John's, you're gonna watch them against Villanova, to be honest. But you know, it's still something to work on, right? If you're getting tunnel vision on a target and your target focus and target priority wasn't great in a round against Villanova, against the big thing, what's the impacts of that going to be? What are the consequences going to be then?
Certainly a question worth asking as well. The question worth asking, how is Villanova going to try to cope with this defense coming in from St. John's? They immediately try to take this high ground, and Gryffindor taking a lot of damage, doesn't get cut down. However, Mr. Koala Man, Jolt, and Joe also looking a little bit weak, a little bit vulnerable on those health pools, able to get the Reinhardt healed up, able to get the Ana healed up, courtesy of some Zen healing. And right now, St. John's isn't really putting themselves in a very vulnerable position, or at least Villanova's not capitalizing on what little exposure there is. Johnny Baloney almost getting taken down, Jolt and Joe as well, very low, and getting pushed back is St. John's, and Villanova's able to get a little bit of point progress for it. Not that first cap, though, and that's perhaps the most crucial aspect.
It's improvements, right? I mean, this is the money point there. It's quite difficult to attack, right? But they forced St. John's back. They forced St. John's to kite. They put some pressure on them. They haven't been able to do that all series or even all season long to teams, right? They haven't been able to force players back. That was good. That was all right. I mean, it's an improvement, and that's what we're here to see from Villanova, right? We're not going to see that many results from them so far this season. It's just not gonna happen.
See them continuing to try to push ahead and tag on this Pharah, an interesting option, knowing that Torbjorn is going to be on the field. That turret just going to be doing continual damage, and Villanova needs to learn, if you're going to be playing this sort of composition, you need to go all as one, not letting Gryffindor out to dry. And I mean, certainly this blade is going to be doing a lot of damage on its own, but still, you'd prefer to avoid it.
This is going to be an annoying DMAC. They're going to be able to reset off the map. Yep, they are. Okay, all good. I mean, what's the bubble in the spawn? Oh, at least if you stays down, I mean, it's not really going to matter much, but it's a kill. I mean, I'm trying to find positives here, so for me, it's a difficult game to cast. We've been in this situation so many times. St. John's, they're going to win this. They've got ultimates to do, so it's just a matter of how professional the job is from them and what little adjustments Villanova can make.
Gryffindor actually getting slept there off the back end of the Nano, and what was looking like a disadvantaged fight right now, Villanova managing to turn around, but Happy actually popping that Valkyrie as soon as they get pecked away by that turret. Very unfortunate spot. Twin Diva bombs, but it looks a little lackluster from Villanova landing right on top of that overpass, meaning that they're not going to get the zoning, they're not going to get the damage they surely would want for that. Nate the Cat going to still be playing down this main line, and I wouldn't be firing your pulse rifle at the opponent, bringing attention to yourself if I was you.
Just run away. Yeah, I mean, nothing really to say there. I mean, Villanova attack visor for this last fight. They can maybe open up some space, force some players from St. John's out of position. I mean, St. John's will not be playing if they're optimal playing. Percentage, really, they're going to be kind of in 50% chill mode. So I mean, maybe you could create some space and get an okay attack visor here. I think that's the only way Villanova are going to do anything in this last team fight.
I mean, their supports certainly aren't going to be doing anything as they both get cut down, one by the jetpack, I should say, the jump pack, and one by the molten core. Nate the Cat going to be lucky to get away here. That Diva Myfris able to provide a little bit of decent healing there. I like those smaller plays, but it's the more macro stuff we need to see.
What am I just saying?
Oh no.
No, we can't do that. Like, I'm being really positive so far on you know, Villanova. They're trying, they're improving, they're here, they're at least here, they're participating. But that attack visor is just bad, to be honest, right? We should know after 10 weeks of regular season that's not attack visor and spawn at nothing.
Yeah, that was a pretty abysmal attack visor, if I'm being honest. And if you stay, not going to have as unsuccessful of an ultimate, getting 3 off the back end. Going to be taking on both DPS, the Ana as well. The Transcendence, not necessary from Joey, but why not pop it? You're not going to be able to carry it over towards the next map, and that is going to be a sound winning from St. John's. 3-0 here on Numbani.
Yep. I mean, nothing really that we didn't expect. It was good from St. John's, poor from Villanova. I mean, that attack visor, I think, epitomizes this series and Villanova's season as dismal as the word. It hasn't been good. The improvements are been okay in this series, right? You're playing against St. John's, you know, maybe it would be nicer to see Villanova against a team, you know, lower in the table, and then maybe you can see if some of those improvements are actually there or they're just little flashes of play. But yeah, it's not been great from Villanova. And St. John's, I mean, they don't really have to do much. They just kind of have to be there, play some Overwatch and they'll win the game.
Perhaps a more casual week for St. John's as well. A pretty casual week for Villanova, it seems. But folks, we're going to be taking a casual little break here. We will be back in 2-3 minutes with more action on the way. So make sure you stay tuned. Villanova versus St. John's concluding after this. Hello, welcome back, folks. Hopefully, that was enough break to grab some water, grab a snack, maybe grab a nap, because we do have the conclusion of Villanova versus St. John's. 0-2, not in favor of Villanova, in fact, in favor of St. John's. And the next and perhaps final map that we'll be looking at here, Ocean, is going to be Hanamura.
I mean, Hanamura is a map where we've seen teams kind of bridge the gap in skill gaps, right? I don't think it's going to happen here, so I don't even know why I brought it up. But we have seen it in the past. RIT earlier today, they got closer to Yukon. We also saw Quinnipiac get closer to Marist on Hanamura earlier in the season. So just a couple of examples. I don't think Villanova are going to do it, but if they're going to do it in any map in Overwatch, it might, probably, maybe be this one.
Might probably maybe be this one if it were to happen. I couldn't have said it better myself, Ocean. But we are going to be seeing once again St. John's start off on the attack, Villanova here on the defense. And I was saying, perhaps this might be a bit of a more rapid paced game. We might get through this a little bit faster if Villanova were on the attack to start. But either way, not going to be the way it pans out. St. John's right now hovering that sim as well.
Yeah, Dalton Joe getting their turn on DPS as well. I think St. John's on the attack here are just gonna go right in. They've got a Symmetra teleporter. They're just gonna brawl on the point. Villanova, I mean, they'll be prepared for the Symmetra teleporter. I know that much. Are they going to be able to react to it? Are they going to be able to find a target out of position and deal with it? Probably not. So, I mean, maybe they've played against Symmetra teleporter so much that they'll be able to find an isolated target, and that could be something Villanova's good at. But I don't think it's going to be enough to win a team fight or anything.
Well, it's fascinating. When you say Villanova is prepared for this team comp, I mean, how prepared have they looked on Numbani? How prepared have they looked on Busan? Certainly St. John's looking a little bit more prepared, looking a little bit sharper on these refined edges of their blades, but right now St. John's going to be looking to set up a quick teleporter, immediately get on, and they're not even going to go straight to point. The flashbang onto the casty. Jolton Joe immediately starting to cut a warpath through here, and Villanova certainly did not seem ready for it this time around, and St. John's getting a couple boop kills as well. That Zarya not quite getting taken off the map by gravity, but instead just by a little bit of the bullet.
That was bad. No, we've seen some bad play from Villanova so far this season. That might be what takes the cake. It was like they didn't even know that the Symmetra was there. You're playing on RMR point A. One, pretty likely they're playing Symmetra. Two, you can see that they're on Symmetra. Why are we so unprepared? Why are we so easy to isolate? Why are we so easily caught out? Can we at least play close together while playing a formation where we can't get isolated?
Tend to agree it's something that you have to consider if you're on the side of Villanova, and St. John's immediately killing quite a few. They lose a couple of their own, but it's certainly not going to be enough to turn the tides in their favor. This proton barrier is going to be going out. If you stay just firing some right clicks, making sure that nobody can get towards point, doesn't matter, not even enough time for it.
1 minute and 17 seconds it took for St. John's to capture both objectives there. I mean, it's a fast time. I mean, that's good from St. John's. They're doing a professional job. That's all really they can do. It's a good, quick, professional job from St. John's, and at least they're not messing around too much. They're not playing with their food. They're giving a little bit of respect. That's okay. That's good for St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
But that first point from Villanova, you're playing in a collegiate league. We've been here for 10 weeks now. 10 weeks, so often. We're better than that, surely. Like, that tack visor on Numbani and that first point defense on Hanamura are not good enough for a team that's been there for 10 weeks and are trying to do something in collegiate Overwatch. That just seems like a team that are here and don't care.
And I mean, on a broader scale, I would wonder what the mentality of Villanova even could be after suffering. They're at 10 or 0-10 right now. I mean, how much faith, how much energy are you putting forth here? I don't think we're seeing an incredible amount of energy, of that intensity coming through. It does look like they're a dog that knows one trick, and that one trick is roll over, because that's pretty much all it seems they're doing right here. Doors are going to be opening up. St. John's going to be going with a Bastion defense, and I'm not even positive Villanova will have any answer to something as rudimentary as this. Oh no.
Lord. Okay, I did credit St. John's for doing a professional job today, not playing with the food, but you know what? They got to pick the 1-for-1. I mean, like they even got value out of that. It's hard to watch. It's difficult to watch. Difficult to cast over, to be completely honest, right? But St. John's, they just got to keep a professional job, and I'll be happy with their performance tonight.
I mean, so far we're seeing Gryffindor fall, Villanova falling into one of those common traps of Hanamura, just fighting too long at the choke. And you know, I was talking about St. John's having this bastion that was going to be really hard to break through. I don't think Liam's even gone into that sentry mode yet.
Probably not. Probably won't need to, right? I mean, positive for Villanova is they have an Anubis. Can they try and catch St. John's off guard? They probably don't expect an Anubis to be online now. They've got something to work with here. That's a nice pin.
Oh, it would have been. That would have been a great pin, perhaps an early opening onto Koala, but not going to quite be the situation here. Liam finally going into that sentry form, getting 3 off the back end of it. And Villanova, I mean, they were playing on easy mode without that bastion going into form, but with it, there's no chance.
I mean, they got a final blow of that team fight. One of their 7, I think, in the series so far. I've been counting. I've been really bored so often, to be honest, trying to count. So I think 7 final blows for Villanova this series. There's one of them just in that previous team fight.
Hopefully we get to see a little bit more action from out the side of Villanova. St. John certainly trying to make this entertaining for us in whatever way they deem possible. And right now it's just a tank battle. It doesn't even feel like the DPS are doing all too much. Jolt and Joe and Liam on that Junkrat and Bastion in similar fashion. It's going to be the Ana immediately taken down, snaked through that Sigma's kinetic grasp. And then onto the window, onto the Mercy. The Bastion actually had some pretty strong shots there. It's kind of a shame that, you know, it landed onto Villanova.
It was nice. I mean, we've got Mr. Koala Man in the back line. Not even got Earthshatter. We've got Zarya and I as well.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I'd probably do the same in this situation, so I can't really criticize St. John's for going a little bit overboard, but what can you do, I guess?
It was the groan was not for St. John's going overboard. It was for Villanova taking those losses early on. Myfris off the back end of that res will be getting 1 down in that Zenyatta, but it's not enough.
3 kills there off the aggressive Graviton Surge. They've got Valkyrie going, Villanova. Maybe they can walk in, try and find something, but they're just gonna set it choke. Like there's something open here, and now a kill onto the Junkrat. I think that was the most recent kill. Why are we not walking in here? Let's go. Come on, Villanova. This is your chance.
Villanova just does not have a sense of urgency here. Gryffindor going for the pin onto the Bastion. Nate on that cast, he doesn't find anything with the Deadeye. I'm not even sure what that flashbang was. Hello?
Flashbang to rock, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that rock is stunned out of its mind, but right now that Zenyatta Transcendent's just going to be trying to hold point. And I wonder, you know, St. John's letting off the wheel here, letting the opponents take it for just a moment.
No way.
It's going to be that third pick coming through.
So often they've got an objective, but also there's a... If you stay might be trying a little bit, because if you stay, it's just chilling in the back line in the spawn doors, practically a Villanova. Yeah, I mean, I think St. John's are players alive. I just think they wanted to let them have the point, to be honest.
It does kind of feel that way. I mean, Villanova not even going to be able to fully engage now because they lose their Ana, Jolt and Joe. Still in the back has that.
They're going to retire the Ana. They're going to retire the Ana.
Yeah, this is going to be so frustrating for Villanova that their mental is going to break on this. Well, specifically Tyler's mental is going to break on this as soon as they just keep getting camped by this Junkrat. There it is.
Look at this. Yeah, that was good. I mean, at least they got a kill on the Liam Lizard. They're all going to be resetting in the spawn next to Jolt and Joe. Nothing really much to say. I mean, if they could get, you know, around the point for this next team fight, they'll have a couple of ultimates. Got good ultimates for point behind Amara too. Deadeye on the high ground is always kind of lethal. Dragon Strike can force players off of the high ground. Nano Boost is always a great ultimate. Valkyrie is very consistent to build up your other ultimates. So Villanova built up a couple of ultimates, and maybe they could do something with those. Oh, hello, Jolt and Joe.
Okay, I got to give credit to Taiga. Did check that, did have the wherewithal to throw that kinetic grasp up, make sure that Junkrat doesn't get the free damage. So a good read there, or a good knowledge of how to interact with that Junkrat. But Nate the Cat not going to have that same fortune. Jolt and Joe just taking them down. I believe it was with just one of the errant pills. It might not have even been aimed for that, Cassidy.
Serpy goes down. That's a nice kill on the Serpy. That's alright. Nice pin as well. We're seeing some sparks here for Villanova on this point B. This is all right. Nice slam as well. Get the MTD in.
Oh, but Gryffindor just absolutely pummeling that Roadhog in the back line, then goes for a pin. I mean, the point's clear-ish once again, and they're just not interested in stepping on it at all. I mean, Villanova looking anemic as ever, and Jolton Joe actually diving over that Reinhardt, slam dunking right onto Nate the Cat. That is a yikes moment.
I mean, that's actually something we can highlight. You know, we saw the Reinhardt go in, get a little bit aggressive, but your tanks have to walk the rest of the team into a team fight. On one, not even any occasion have we seen Villanova's tanks get anyone involved in the team fight. We've seen a Hunter on a flank a couple of times, and they were involved in that way. But this, I mean, I don't think I've seen Tyler this game except getting like ulted in spawn or whatever, right? Like they haven't been able to do anything. So those sort of fundamentals are just not there.
Immortality Field trying to come out from Villanova, but the tanks kind of stepping outside of it rather than Reinhardt stepping outside of it. Myfrost once again being the tank player that this team needs, opening things up at least a little bit. Jolton Show, however, going to be looking to shut them down just as quick. Reptar comes out, lands onto the Casty, and I believe we're seeing a flank hog from If You Stay right around back end. Oh, but Liam Lizard takes the shot onto the Hanzo. Can't quite connect, but neither can the Hanzo Myfrost at this rate. Yeah, we're not seeing any progress being made from Villanova here on this push.
That kill, they've taken the high ground, and I'm watching them. I think they maybe had 2 kills at that point. I'm watching Gryffindor, who's in the stairwell on the top left high ground, just waving their shield at their own team. It's disappointing from Villanova. They can do better than this. They should do better than this, especially after 10 weeks of a regular season. So Johns take the 3-0 victory, but I mean, they probably think that they've, just got a free win, really.
It's interesting to know the mindset behind St. John's. Do you appreciate the fact that this is, one of the more easy wins you'll have to face on this season towards the back end when, those things might start to matter? Do you know that maybe this is, I mean, like, just what's your mentality? Do you get a little bit upset that, this wasn't a chance to really train yourself, get better, provide those skills that, admittedly, St. John's is giving to Villanova, that Villanova, at least within the past 10 weeks, hasn't seemed to pick up from their other opponents. So we talk a lot about Villanova. They've kind of been the highlight here because of their skill disparity with what we've seen so far. But I also kind of want to reflect that back at St. John's. What's their mentality going into this?
It's weird as well because they came off of like one of the games of the season last week against William & Mary, and now they're kind of fighting with William & Mary for one of the higher spots. William & Mary also won 3-0 tonight, so it was important for them to win 3-0. So I guess that's a positive for them, winning 3-0 and making sure they keep tabs with William & Mary in the standings. So that's a positive. But also you're thinking, we had lost last week. People are starting to doubt us, and they can't really judge us off a game against Villanova. So, like, mentally, in another sense, where you want to prove yourself, you don't really have the opportunity to do so.
Well, we are going to be getting a little bug in our ear from St. John's. We will be having an interview on the other end of this break. I'm getting word that's going to be Liam Lizard, so folks, make sure you stick around. We'll be hearing from St. John's here on the other end of this break. Hello, folks, and welcome back. We are here with Liam Lizard off the very rapid win from St. John's. Liam, hello, welcome, and almost as quick a congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, of course. Now, to be frank, normally me and Ocean, have a little bit more to ask about these types of games. A little bit more insight that we would usually get into the mind of these teams. But this one was pretty straightforward. Like I said, it was a rather quick game. So, what I do want to ask is looking forward. What are the plans for St. John's as you kind of look to move ahead throughout the rest of the season? Do you think that this is a good kind of stepping stone, regrouping stone for you, or what was your mentality coming off of this?
So for last week, we took a tough loss to William Mary. We lost 3-2. Uh, the attitude in the room was a little bit darker to what we were used to. So we needed a good win to bounce back on. That's what we took for today. We wanted to have some good fun, have a good bonding experience with everybody, even the players we usually have on the bench. We wanted everybody to get some good equal play time. And we knew that Villanova was at the bottom of the standings. We respect them individually. They're all very nice people, very nice players, all of them. But we also wanted to have a little bit of fun, get to play some off rolls.
I mean, we certainly saw a lot of those off rolls coming out. Now, if my notes here are correct, I did kind of hijack them from Twin Salty. So forgive me if they're incorrect, or forgive Twin if they're incorrect. But I have that normally you're here sitting on the support, and we didn't see you touch that at all today. If I remember what you told me literally before this interview, what was the inspiration behind kind of just having a little bit of fun? Like what was the mindset, I guess, of having fun? It's a
So we,
yeah.
we actually have done this before where I played DPS. We did it during the Vincentian Cup in the break between splits where we played against DePaul. Most of our DPS players weren't available that day. I got to play a lot of Echo, which you saw in the beginning of Nubani. Uh, but I felt like I could play a few more in there just for fun, just to try some things out, try some strats. Maybe they work, maybe they don't. But yeah, I think it was fun. You might see it again in the future. A couple people
Mm,
off rolling. It's definitely something we're going to try practicing behind the scenes. But yeah.
very cool. Ocean?
You mentioned to us, and we've just seen an EGF general chat. You were playing some bingo during this game. Talk us through, and you actually got it as well, which is really impressive, really cool. Some of these are actually hilarious. So talk to me about the bingo that you actually got, and talk to us through each of the bingo slots that you got today.
Yeah, so today we decided to do bingo. William and Mary have been guys that have been doing it for I think almost the entire season so far. And we wanted to have some fun with it, try and join in on the fun, and we actually did get bingo. It came down to for Hanamura forcing our main support to not play Mercy. That was like the big key. We did not want to break it at the end. I got the Torb kill for this the map before. We were right there. If we lost that, we were going to be a little bit upset. But we did get
What?
that. We got a win. We did spawn hold a little bit, so it's good fun. We're gonna try to do that more in the future.
That was nice. What happened if Slippery just decided to play Mercy?
Unfortunately, might have had to penalize that a little bit. Maybe no playtime next week. I don't know. I don't know.
That would have been actually hilarious, like the ultimate troll, no
It
bingo today.
would have been funny.
Was
It
there
would have been
anyone
funny.
else, any other spots on the bingo board that were interesting to get today that you didn't actually like get a line for?
Uh, Not really. No, I mean it was a
Was
lot of
everyone on
pop off
time today,
potential.
for example?
Everybody was on time. That I put
Right,
that
there
there
you go.
expecting everybody to not be there on time, but everybody was there. So right off the bat, I was
Nice, picked
surprised.
up.
I was surprised. That was a big one. That was definitely a big one.
Wait, did you play
Well,
every or you didn't play every role today, you missed support. So
I
oh,
I'm just
missed it
looking at
right
the
at the
list.
end. Yeah,
It's just disappointing.
maybe
well,
next time.
yeah, it's certainly something to catch for next week for everybody at home. And now, hey, it's in the general chat. You can play bingo along with the rest of St. John's as well. Liam Lizard, I think we're about ready to wrap things up here. But before we let you go, do you want to give the opportunity for any shout outs?
Oh, absolutely. I'll shout out all my teammates for being there today, having some good fun, not getting down when we're losing players and fights, anything like that. Good attitude, good energy. Shout out to my manager for making sure everything was set up with production, with the other team, and shout out to Villanova. They're a team that has been struggling, but they have very very positive energy throughout the entire series. They're very very nice people, and I hope they get that win very soon.
Well, I know everybody at home is going to be rooting for them as well. Liam Lizard, once again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Now, Ocean, we do have one more matchup here in the future. I do read that. Let me look it up here. It is going to be Knipiak versus no Canisius. versus Iona College. Excuse me. Production in my ear thankfully saved me from a lot of embarrassment there, not docking myself on stream. But once again, those two teams going to be coming up on the other end of this break. So make sure you stick around, folks. We will be right back with those matchups.